The dropship trembled as it cut through the thick orange clouds of Kepler 442b. Lieutenant Commander Park Jin-woo gripped his rifle tighter and looked at his team. 5 Korean warriors sat in the metal belly of the transport craft. Each man knew this mission could be their last. The planet below them was hell. Red rock stretched for thousands of miles. Strange purple plants grew between the stones. The air was thick enough to breathe but tasted like metal. Most dangerous of all were the Vorthak. These aliens had claimed this world as their own. Park Jin-woo was 32 years old. He had led men into battle many times before. His dark eyes showed no fear as he checked his weapon one more time. The other soldiers trusted him completely. They had fought together for 3 years. Chief Petty Officer Kim Min-soo sat across from him. Min-soo was the team explosives expert. His hands were steady as rocks. No matter how bad things got, Min-soo could blow up anything that needed destroying. He carried enough explosive charges to level a small building. Next to Min-soo sat Petty Officer Lee Hyun-woo. He handled all communications for the team. Hyun-woo could speak 5 languages and knew how to work any radio system ever built. Right now he was checking their communication gear for the 10th time. Petty Officer Choi Dae-hyun was their medic. He could patch up bullet wounds or broken bones in the middle of a firefight. Dae-hyun carried medical supplies and enough painkillers to treat a whole platoon. His calm voice could keep wounded men alive when everything seemed hopeless. The last member was Petty Officer First Class Song Jae-won. He was their sniper. Jae-won could hit a target from over a mile away. His rifle was custom-built for long-range shots. The scope on top cost more than most cars back on Earth. The mission was simple on paper. Get to the Vorthak Communication Center in the Crimson Valleys. Plant listening devices. Record alien radio traffic. Get out without being seen. Command needed to know what the aliens were planning next. For 6 months, human colonies had been under attack. The Vorthak appeared without warning. Their ships were fast and deadly. Their weapons could melt through tank armor like it was paper. Worst of all, humans could never predict where they would strike next. The aliens themselves were nightmare creatures. They stood 7 feet tall on powerful legs. Their bodies were covered in natural armor that looked like black metal. Each Vorthak had 4 arms ending in clawed hands. Their heads were the worst part. Compound eyes like giant insects, mouths full of razor teeth, no nose or ears that humans could see. The Vorthak moved like a pack of wolves. They seemed to think as one mind. Human soldiers said fighting them was like fighting ghosts. The aliens would appear from nowhere, kill everything in sight, then vanish before reinforcements arrived. Park Jin-woo studied the mission map one more time. The target zone was a narrow valley between 2 mountain ranges. Satellite photos showed Vorthak structures built into the rock walls. Strange towers reached toward the sky like metal fingers. Energy readings suggested major communication equipment inside. The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. 5 minutes to drop zone. Weather looks clear. No alien aircraft detected. Jin-woo nodded and stood up. Listen up. We go in fast and quiet. Min-soo, you handle perimeter security. Hyun-woo, get those devices planted as quick as possible. Dae-hyun, watch our backs. Jae-won, find high ground for overwatch. The men checked their gear one final time. Each soldier carried enough ammunition for a small war. Their body armor was the newest design from Earth factories. Dark gray colors would help them blend with the rocky terrain below. 2 minutes, the pilot announced. Through the small windows, they could see the Crimson Valleys approaching. The rock formations looked like giant red teeth reaching up from the planet's surface. Deep shadows filled the spaces between them. Perfect places for enemies to hide. 1 minute. Opening bay doors, cold alien air rushed into the dropship. The smell of metal became stronger. In the distance, they could see the target valley. It looked peaceful from above. No movement. No signs of life. That should have been their first warning. Go, go, go. The 5 Koreans jumped from the dropship in perfect formation. Their parachutes opened automatically. The transport immediately turned and headed back toward human territory. In 30 seconds, they were alone on an alien world. Jin-woo watched the ground rush up toward them. The landing zone was a flat area near the valley entrance. Rock formations would provide good cover for their approach to the target. Then everything went wrong. Bright blue energy beams suddenly filled the air around them. The Vorthak had been waiting. Hidden weapons opened fire from concealed positions in the rocks. The aliens had known they were coming. Evasive maneuvers. Jin-woo shouted into his radio, but there was nowhere to go. More energy beams reached up from the ground. One beam passed so close to Hyunwoo that it burned a hole through his parachute. He began falling faster toward the rocks below. The dropship that had carried them exploded in a ball of orange fire. Alien plasma cannons had been tracking it since they jumped. The pilot never had a chance to escape. Burning metal rained down around the falling soldiers. Jaewon hit the ground first. He rolled to absorb the impact and immediately looked for cover. Energy beams were coming from at least 6 different positions. The aliens had set up a perfect ambush. One by one, the other team members landed hard on the rocky ground. Daehyun twisted his ankle but kept moving. Minsu's equipment pack was smoking from a near miss. Hyunwoo's damaged parachute had given him a rough landing, but he was alive. Park Jinwoo was the last to touch down. As his boots hit the rock, he could see their situation was desperate. Vorthak warriors were emerging from hidden positions all around them. Their black armor made them look like demons rising from hell. The aliens moved with terrifying coordination. No shouting or confusion. They advanced like machines, each one knowing exactly what to do. Their energy weapons glowed with deadly blue light. "Defensive positions," Jinwoo ordered. "Make every shot count." The 5 Korean soldiers pressed themselves against the rocks and began returning fire. Their bullets sparked off Vorthak armor but seemed to do little damage. The aliens kept advancing. Song Jae-won found a position behind a large boulder. Through his rifle scope, he could see more enemies than he could count. At least 50 Vorthak warriors, maybe more hiding in the rocks. "We are in serious trouble," he reported over the radio. Jinwoo knew his sniper was right. They were outnumbered 10-1. Their extraction point was compromised. Radio contact with headquarters was being jammed by alien technology. But these were Korean warriors. They had never surrendered in any battle. They would not start now. The fight for survival was about to begin. The ancient stone ruins rose from the red earth like broken teeth. Park Jinwoo led his team through a gap in the crumbling walls. Behind them, blue energy beams lit up the rocks where they had been hiding just moments before. "Move faster," Jinwoo shouted. "Those things are right behind us." The 5 Korean soldiers stumbled into what looked like the remains of an old building. Strange symbols were carved into the stone walls. No human had ever seen writing like this before. Whatever race built this place was long gone. Kim Minsu dropped his heavy pack and pulled out explosive charges. His hands moved quickly as he began setting up defensive positions. These walls are thick. They should stop the alien weapons for a while. Song Jae-won found stairs leading to what remained of a second floor. He climbed up with his sniper rifle. From there he could see out across the valley. What he saw made his blood run cold. "Commander, we have a big problem," Jae-won said into his radio. "I count at least 200 of those things. Maybe more coming over the ridge." Park Jinwoo cursed under his breath. 200 Vorthak warriors against 5 humans. The math was simple and terrifying. Each alien was stronger than any human. Their weapons were more advanced. Their armor was nearly bulletproof. Lee Hyunwoo was working frantically with his communication equipment. Wires and circuit boards were spread across the stone floor. "The jamming is too strong. I cannot get any signal through to headquarters." "Keep trying," Jinwoo ordered. "Someone needs to know what happened here." Choi Dae-hyun was checking everyone for injuries. Minsu had cuts on his arms from falling rocks. Hyunwoo's shoulder was bruised from his hard landing. Jae-won was holding his ribs like they might be cracked. "Everyone will live," Dae-hyun reported, "but we are not in good shape for a long fight." Outside the ruins, inhuman sounds echoed off the valley walls. The Vorthak were talking to each other in their strange language. It sounded like clicking and whistling mixed together. Sometimes they made low rumbling noises that seemed to come from deep in their chests. Minsu finished placing his explosive charges around the entrance. "I have enough explosives to bring down this whole section of wall. But once I use them, that is it. No more big surprises after that." Park Jinwoo looked through a crack in the stone wall. He could see Vorthak warriors moving between the rocks outside. They were in no hurry. The aliens knew the humans were trapped. They were taking their time to surround the ruins completely. The Vorthak moved like nothing Jinwoo had ever seen before. Each warrior was 7 feet tall and covered in black armor that looked like it grew from their bodies. Their forearms moved independently. They could hold weapons in 2 hands while climbing rocks with the other 2. Their faces were the worst part. Compound eyes like giant insects reflected the orange sunlight. When they opened their mouths, rows of sharp teeth were visible. No expression that humans could read. No emotion. They were living killing machines. How long can we hold this position? Jinwoo asked his demolitions expert. Minsu looked at his remaining supplies. With what I have left, maybe 6 hours if we are lucky. Their weapons will eventually break through these walls. Song Jae-hwan was watching the aliens through his rifle scope. They are setting up some kind of heavy weapon on that ridge. Looks like a cannon of some kind. Through the scope, Jae-hwan could see 4 Vorthak warriors assembling a large device. The weapon was twice the size of anything the humans carried. Energy cells glowed blue along its sides. When it was finished, it would probably be able to punch right through their stone shelter. We need to take out that cannon, Jinwoo decided. It is almost 800 meters away, Jae-hwan said. I can make that shot, but it will give away my position. They will know exactly where I am. Do it anyway. We cannot let them bring that thing online. Jae-hwan steadied his rifle against the stone wall. He controlled his breathing the way he had been trained. 800 meters was a long shot, but he had made longer ones before. The alien weapon was a big target. The rifle cracked once. Through the scope, Jae-hwan watched one of the Vorthak warriors spin around and fall. Green fluid sprayed from the wound. Alien blood was a different color than human blood. The other 3 aliens immediately dove for cover. But the damage was done. Their heavy weapon was only half assembled. It would take them time to finish the job. Good shot, Jinwoo said. But now they know we have a sniper. Almost immediately, energy beams began hitting the upper level of the ruins. The Vorthak were trying to eliminate the threat. Stone chips flew everywhere as the alien weapons chewed up the walls around Jae-hwan. I cannot stay up here much longer, the sniper reported. He moved to a different position as more energy beams lit up his previous spot. Lee Hyunwoo suddenly looked up from his equipment. Wait, I am getting something. Not from headquarters, but some kind of signal. What kind of signal? Jinwoo asked. It sounds like Korean. Very faint. Someone is trying to talk to us on a military frequency. The communication specialist adjusted his equipment. Static filled the air, then cleared for just a moment. A voice spoke in Korean. The words were hard to hear, but they were definitely human. Stay down. Do not move from your position. Help is coming. Then the signal was gone. More static and then nothing. Who was that? Minsu asked. There are no other human forces in this area. Park Jinwoo felt a chill run down his spine. The voice had sounded familiar somehow, like someone he should know but could not quite remember. Outside, the Vorthak were getting bolder. Some of them were moving closer to the ruins. Their energy weapons lit up the growing darkness as the alien sun began to set. Soon it would be completely dark. Night vision, Jinwoo ordered. Everyone switched to night vision. The soldiers activated their night vision equipment. The world turned green and black. They could see the heat signatures of the approaching aliens clearly now. Choi Dae-hyun was counting ammunition. We have maybe 300 rounds left between all of us. That is not much against 200 enemies. Make every shot count, Jinwoo said, and stay ready to fall back deeper into these ruins if they break through. Kim Minsu had found more rooms behind their current position. The ancient building was larger than they had first thought. Whoever built it had made it like a fortress. Thick walls and narrow passages that could be defended by a small force. If we have to retreat, there are good positions further back, Minsu reported. But eventually we will run out of room to run. Song Jae-hwan had moved to a different window. The heavy weapon is almost ready. They are bringing up more equipment too. Looks like they plan to blast us out of here. Park Jinwoo made a decision. We make our stand here. No retreat, no surrender. We are Korean warriors. We do not run from any enemy. The other 4 men nodded. They had all sworn the same oath when they became soldiers. Death before dishonor. Fight until the last bullet. Never give up. Outside in the darkness, alien voices grew louder. The Vorthak were preparing for their final assault. Soon the ancient ruins would become a battlefield. 5 humans against an army of monsters. But somewhere in the darkness, someone else was watching. Someone who had heard their radio calls and was moving into position. The mysterious voice had promised help was coming. Soon they would learn who their unseen ally really was. The Vorthak heavy cannon was almost ready to fire. Park Jinwoo watched through the cracked stone wall as alien warriors made final adjustments to their weapon. In minutes it would blow their shelter to pieces. Everyone get ready, Jinwoo whispered into his radio. When that cannon fires, we move to the back rooms. Stay low and keep moving. Song Jae-hwan had his rifle aimed at the cannon crew. I can take out maybe 1 more before they return fire. But there are too many of them. Kim Min-soo gripped his detonator. My charges are ready. If they break through the front wall, I can bring down half this building on top of them. The alien cannon began to glow with blue energy. The Vorthak warriors stepped back from their weapon. In seconds, death would come screaming across the valley. Then something impossible happened. The head of the lead Vorthak warrior exploded in a spray of green blood. The alien's body dropped to the ground like a broken toy. The sound of the rifle shot echoed off the mountain walls a full second later. What the hell was that? Min-soo shouted. Another Vorthak warrior fell. Then another. Each shot came from somewhere high in the mountains. The sound arrived long after the bullets found their targets. Someone was shooting from an incredible distance. The remaining aliens around the heavy cannon dove for cover. Their formation began to break apart as panic spread through their ranks. More shots came from the mountains. Each bullet found a different target. That is not one of us, Song Jae-won said. He was looking through his rifle scope toward the mountains. Those shots are coming from at least 2 kilometers away. Park Jin-woo grabbed his binoculars and scanned the mountain ridges. He could see nothing. No muzzle flashes. No movement. Whoever was shooting was perfectly hidden. Lee Han-woo was frantically working with his radio equipment. I am picking up transmissions again. Same voice as before. He is speaking Korean. Static filled the air, then cleared for a moment. Targets eliminated. Moving to new position. Stay in cover. The voice was calm and professional. It sounded like a soldier giving a routine report. But there was something strange about the accent. It was Korean, but different somehow. Outside the ruins, the Vorthak were in complete confusion. Their leaders were dead. Their heavy weapon was abandoned. Warriors who had been advancing on the human position were now running for cover. Count the bodies, Jin-woo ordered. Song Jae-won used his scope to examine the alien positions. I count 12 dead Vorthak. All clean headshots. Whoever this is, he knows how to shoot. More rifle shots echoed from the mountains. Each time another alien warrior fell. The mystery sniper was working his way through the Vorthak forces with deadly precision. He seemed to know exactly where each enemy was hiding. This is impossible, Choi Dae-hyun said. No one could make shots like that. The distance is too far. The wind is too strong. But the evidence was right in front of them. Vorthak warriors continued to fall. The alien formation was completely broken. Many were retreating toward the valley entrance. Kim Min-soo was watching a group of aliens trying to set up a new position behind some rocks. There are 6 of them behind that boulder. They think they are safe. 3 rifle shots rang out in quick succession. All 6 Vorthak warriors dropped at the same time. He is shooting faster now, Jae-won observed. Either he has multiple rifles or he can reload incredibly quickly. Lee Han-woo picked up another transmission. Command structure eliminated. Switching to suppression fire. Prepare for movement. Movement where? Jin-woo asked. But there was no answer. The mystery sniper began targeting different types of enemies. Heavy weapons specialists fell first. Then communication operators. Then anyone who looked like they might be giving orders to other aliens. He is not just shooting randomly, Park Jin-woo realized. He knows exactly which targets will cause the most damage to their organization. Song Jae-won was studying the shot patterns through his scope. Look at the angles. He is shooting from multiple positions. Either he is moving incredibly fast or what? Min-soo asked. Or he has been out there for a long time. Long enough to set up shooting positions all over those mountains. The thought sent chills down their spines. Who could survive alone in alien territory long enough to prepare such elaborate defenses? And why had he not made contact with human forces before now? As the alien sun set completely, the mystery sniper switched tactics. Now he was using some kind of night vision equipment. Vorthak warriors continued to fall even in complete darkness. Thermal imaging, Hyun-woo reported. He has to be using thermal scopes. That is the only way to make those shots in the dark. But human thermal equipment was not that good. The technology to make accurate shots at 2 kilometers in darkness barely existed. Even the best military snipers would struggle with such conditions. Who is this guy? Dae-hyun whispered. The radio crackled again. Hostiles retreating. Maintain position until dawn. Extraction route will be clear by morning. This time the transmission was much clearer. Park Jin-woo felt his blood run cold. He knew that voice. It was older, rougher than he remembered, but definitely familiar. Nam Tae-hyung, he whispered. What did you say? Min-soo asked. Staff Sergeant Nam Tae-hyung. He was reported missing 9 months ago. First contact mission with the Vorthak. His team was wiped out. Song Jae-won lowered his rifle. I heard about that mission. No survivors. They said everyone was killed. Maybe they were wrong, Jinwoo said. Maybe one man got away. Outside, the Vorthak retreat was turning into a complete rout. The aliens were abandoning their equipment and fleeing toward the valley entrance. Some were carrying their wounded. Others were running so fast they left everything behind. The mystery sniper continued to pick off targets as they ran. But he was being selective now, only shooting at warriors who looked like they might regroup and return. He is hurting them, Jae-won observed, making sure they all leave in the same direction. Lee Hyun-woo picked up one final transmission before the radio went quiet. Ghost actual to trapped friendlies. Area will be secure by dawn. Welcome to my neighborhood. Then silence. No more shots from the mountains. No more radio contact. The mystery sniper had vanished as suddenly as he had appeared. Ghost actual, Park Jin-woo repeated. That sounds like a military call sign. Kim Min-soo was looking out at the battlefield. Dead Vorthak warriors were scattered across the rocks. Equipment was abandoned everywhere. A force of 200 aliens had been broken by a single sniper. If that really is Nam Taehyung, how did he survive out here for 9 months? Taehyun asked. And how did he get so good at killing these things? Jae-won added. Park Jin-woo had no answers. But he knew they would find out soon. When morning came, they would finally meet the ghost in the mountains, the man who had saved their lives with impossible shots from impossible distances, the man who had turned certain death into hope. Dawn came slowly to the alien world. The orange sun cast long shadows across the valley floor. Park Jin-woo stood at the entrance to the ancient ruins and looked out at the battlefield. Dead Vorthak warriors lay scattered among the rocks like broken dolls. Green blood had dried in dark stains on the red earth. Abandoned alien weapons glowed faintly in the morning light. I count 43 bodies, Song Jae-won reported. He was using his rifle scope to examine the carnage. All of them clean kills. House shot in the head or upper chest. Kim Min-soo was examining some of the abandoned alien equipment. Look at this. They left behind enough weapons and supplies for a small army. They were so scared they just ran. Lee Hyun-woo was still monitoring radio frequencies. No alien communications at all. Whatever frequency they use, it has gone completely silent. Choi Dae-hyun found something interesting near one of the dead Vorthak warriors. This one was shot 3 times. But look at the spacing. The bullets hit in a perfect triangle. That takes incredible skill. Park Jin-woo was studying the mountain ridges where the shots had come from. In daylight, he could see several possible sniper positions, rocky outcrops that would provide good cover and clear lines of sight. There, he said, pointing to a cliff face about 2 kilometers away. That ledge would be perfect for long-range shooting. Song Jae-won looked through his scope at the location. I can see something up there. Looks like camouflage netting. Someone definitely used that position. Should we try to make contact? Min-soo asked. Before anyone could answer, Lee Hyun-woo's radio crackled to life. Trapped friendlies, this is Ghost Actual. I am moving to your position. Do not shoot. I am wearing Korean military uniform. Copy that, Ghost Actual, Park Jin-woo responded. We are ready to receive you. They waited in tense silence. Somewhere out there, the mystery sniper was approaching their position. The man who had saved their lives was finally going to reveal himself. Movement on the ridge, Jae-won called out. Single figure, about 1 kilometer out and closing. Through their binoculars, they could see a lone person moving carefully down the mountain slope. He was wearing what looked like modified military fatigues. His movements were smooth and controlled, like someone who had learned to move silently through dangerous territory. He is carrying a rifle, Dae-hyun observed. Looks like it has been modified with alien technology. The figure continued down the slope using the rocks for cover. Even though the area was secure, he moved like he expected enemies to appear at any moment. Old habits from months of survival. As he got closer, they could see more details. The uniform was definitely Korean military issue, but it had been patched and repaired many times. Parts of alien equipment were attached to his gear. His rifle had components that definitely were not human-made. That weapon is a hybrid, Song Jae-won said with professional interest. Human rifle with alien power source and targeting system. Very smart modification. The mystery sniper finally reached the valley floor. He approached the ruins carefully, his rifle ready but not aimed at them. When he was 50 meters away, he called out in Korean, "Permission to approach, Commander Park." Park Jin-woo felt his breath catch. The voice was older and rougher, but he knew it now. "Permission granted, Staff Sergeant Nam." The figure stepped into the open sunlight. Even after 9 months in hell, Nam Tae-hyung was still recognizably Korean military. But the man who approached them was not the same soldier who had disappeared during the first contact mission. Tae-hyung was thinner than he had been. His face was weathered and scarred. His eyes had the look of someone who had seen too much death. His hair was longer and streaked with early gray. Most noticeable of all were the alien technology components integrated into his equipment. "Staff Sergeant Nam Tae-hyung reporting, sir," he said with a formal salute. "Sorry I am late for the party." Despite everything, Park Jin-woo found himself smiling. "Good to see you alive, Sergeant. We heard your whole team was killed." Tae-hyung's expression darkened. "They were. I was the only one who made it out of that first ambush. Been living in these mountains ever since." Kim Min-soo was staring at the modified rifle. "How did you survive out here alone for 9 months?" "I learned to hunt them before they could hunt me," Tae-hyung replied simply. "Took their technology and made it work for human purposes. Studied their tactics and weaknesses. Became something they were not prepared to fight." Song Jae-won was amazed by what he was hearing. "You have been fighting a one-man war against the Vorthak?" "Someone had to. After my team died, I had 2 choices. Try to escape and probably die in the wilderness, or stay and make these alien bastards pay for what they did." Choi Dae-hyun noticed movement in how Tae-hyung held himself. "You are hurt. How badly?" "Nothing that will not heal," Tae-hyung said. "Been hurt worse and kept fighting." Lee Hyun-woo was fascinated by the communication equipment Tae-hyung carried. "How have you been monitoring our radio traffic?" "Our gear is encrypted. Alien monitoring devices," Tae-hyung explained. "They can break any human encryption in seconds. I salvaged some of their equipment and learned to use it. Been listening to human military frequencies for months." Park Jin-woo had so many questions he did not know where to start. "How many Vorthak have you killed?" Tae-hyung thought for a moment. "I stopped counting after 50. Been focusing on their leaders and specialists. Kill the right targets and the rest lose their coordination." "Is that why they ran last night?" Min-soo asked, partly, but also because they have started to fear this area. "The Vorthak have been telling stories about a ghost that hunts them in these mountains. They think this valley is cursed." Song Jae-won laughed despite their situation. "A ghost with a rifle! Whatever works," Tae-hyung said. "Fear is a weapon like any other. Use it right, and you can defeat enemies much stronger than you." Park Jin-woo was beginning to understand what had happened to his fellow Korean. 9 months alone in enemy territory had changed Nam Tae-hyung into something unique. He was no longer just a soldier. He had become a predator perfectly adapted to hunting the galaxy's most dangerous aliens. "What do you know about their plans?" Jin-woo asked. Tae-hyung's expression became serious. "They are planning something big. I have been watching increased activity for the past month. More ships arriving, more equipment being moved. They are preparing for a major offensive against human colonies. We need to get this information back to headquarters," Lee Hyun-woo said. "Agreed," Tae-hyung nodded. "But first we need to get out of here alive. The Vorthak will regroup and come back with reinforcements. This area will not be safe for long." Kim Min-soo looked around at the abandoned alien equipment. "Should we salvage anything?" "Take what you can carry," Tae-hyung advised. "Alien technology is worth its weight in gold to human engineers. But do not take too much. We have a long walk ahead of us." Choi Dae-hyun was already examining Vorthak weapons and medical supplies. "Some of this equipment is more advanced than anything we have." "That is how I survived," Tae-hyung explained. "Learn to use their own technology against them. Human courage and determination combined with alien science. That is a combination they cannot defeat." As they prepared to leave the ruins, Park Jin-woo looked back at the battlefield. 43 dead Vorthak warriors, evidence of what one determined human could accomplish when pushed to his limits. "How far to the extraction point?" he asked. 3 days' walk through the mountains, Tae-hyung replied. "But I know the way. Been mapping these territories for months. I can get us home." Song Jae-won shouldered his rifle and looked at their guide with new respect. "Lead the way, Ghost Actual." Nam Tae-hyung smiled for the first time since his appearance. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had found new hunting partners. "Welcome to my war," he said. The mountain path was narrow and dangerous. Nam Tae-hyung led the 5 SEAL team members through passages he had mapped during 9 months of survival. Behind them, the valley they had escaped was already filling with new Vorthak forces. "They work fast," Park Jin-woo observed, looking back through his binoculars. I count at least 100 fresh warriors down there. More coming, Taehyung said without stopping. When the Vorthak lose a battle, they respond with overwhelming force. We need to be far from here before they organize a proper search. The path wound between towering rock formations. Strange alien plants grew in the cracks between stones. Some of them glowed softly in the dim light. Others moved when the wind touched them, like they were alive. Song Jae-hwan was walking near the back of the group watching for pursuit. These mountains are like a maze. How do you remember the way? When your life depends on knowing every rock and cave, you learn fast, Taehyung replied. I have been mapping these territories for months. Every trail, every hiding spot, every source of water. Kim Min-soo was carrying some of the alien equipment they had salvaged. This stuff is heavier than it looks. What exactly does it do? That device disrupts their communications, Taehyung explained. Very useful when you want to separate small groups from the main force. This other one is a portable shield generator. Can stop their energy weapons for a few minutes. Lee Hyun-woo was fascinated by the technology. How did you figure out how to use alien equipment? Trial and error. Mostly error for the first few weeks. Nearly got myself killed several times. But eventually I started to understand their systems. Choi Dae-hyun noticed that Taehyung moved differently than a normal soldier. You walk like you expect attack from any direction. Because attack can come from any direction out here, Taehyung said. The Vorthak have patrols throughout these mountains. We are not safe until we reach human territory. They had been walking for 2 hours when Taehyung suddenly held up his hand. Everyone froze. In the distance, they could hear the clicking sounds that meant Vorthak warriors were nearby. Patrol, Taehyung whispered. 6 warriors. Moving along the ridge above us. Park Jin-woo could see movement on the rocks overhead. Can we avoid them? Not easily. They are blocking the main path. We could go around, but that would add hours to our journey. Song Jae-won was already setting up his rifle. I can take them out. No, Taehyung said firmly. Gunfire will attract every Vorthak in these mountains. We need a quieter solution. He pulled out what looked like a small alien device. It was about the size of a grenade but covered in strange symbols. Sonic disruptor. It will confuse their senses for about 10 minutes. Long enough for us to slip past. Where did you get that? Kim Min-soo asked. Took it off a dead Vorthak specialist last month. Very rare equipment. I have been saving it for the right situation. Taehyung activated the device and threw it toward the patrol. There was no explosion, just a faint humming sound. On the ridge above, the Vorthak warriors suddenly began moving erratically. They seemed confused and disoriented. Now we move, Taehyung said. Stay low and quiet. The group crept past the confused aliens without being detected. By the time the sonic disruptor wore off, they were already a kilometer away. That was amazing, Lee Hyun-woo said. Do you have more of those devices? A few, but they are too valuable to waste. I only use them when absolutely necessary. They continued climbing through the mountains. The alien sun was getting lower in the sky. Soon it would be dark, and moving through this terrain would become much more dangerous. How much farther to the extraction point? Park Jin-woo asked. We should reach the human outpost tomorrow afternoon, Taehyung replied. But first we need to survive the night. The Vorthak are more active after dark. As if summoned by his words, alien sounds echoed from the valley below, hunting calls that made human skin crawl. The Vorthak search parties were spreading out through the mountains. They are tracking us, Choi Dae-hyun said. How long before they find our trail? Not long, Taehyung admitted. I know a place we can make a stand. A narrow canyon with good defensive positions. If we are going to fight, that is where we want to do it. Song Jae-won checked his ammunition. How many do you think will come for us? All of them, Taehyung said grimly. The Vorthak do not give up easily. They will chase us until we are dead or until we reach human territory. Kim Min-soo was examining his remaining explosive charges. I have enough firepower to give them a very bad day, but only if we choose the right battlefield. The canyon I mentioned has a narrow entrance, Taehyung explained. We can funnel them into a kill zone, use their numbers against them. They reached the canyon just as the alien sun disappeared behind the mountains. It was exactly as Taehyung had described. High walls on both sides, with only one way in or out. Perfect place for an ambush, Park Jin-woo agreed. If we were the ones doing the ambushing. We are, Taehyung said. I have been preparing this position for months. Watch and learn. He led them to what looked like natural cave formations in the canyon walls. But when they got closer, they could see that the caves had been modified. Shooting positions had been carved out of the rock. Supply caches were hidden in the shadows. You have been planning this for a long time, Lee Hunwoo realized. I knew eventually I would need to make a final stand, Taehyung said. When that day came, I wanted to be ready. Kim Min-soo found pre-positioned explosive charges throughout the canyon. This whole place is rigged to blow. You could bring down both walls if necessary. Last resort, Taehyung said. Better to fight our way out if possible. Song Jae-won was examining the shooting positions. These angles are perfect. We can cover the entire canyon floor from here. That was the idea. Channel them into a narrow space where superior numbers do not matter. The sound of Vorthak hunting calls was getting closer. Soon the aliens would find the canyon entrance. The final battle would begin. Choi De-hyun was distributing medical supplies. Everyone ready? Park Jin-woo looked around at his team. 5 Korean warriors and 1 ghost from the mountains, against an entire Vorthak army. We have been in worse situations, he lied. No, we have not, Song Jae-won said with a grin. But we are Korean military. We do not know how to lose. Nam Tae-hyung was checking his modified rifle one last time. 9 months of survival had turned him into something the Vorthak had never faced before. A human predator who understood their weaknesses better than they understood themselves. When they come through that entrance, he said quietly, show them why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Outside the canyon, alien voices grew louder. The hunt was about to become a battle. And 6 Korean warriors were ready to write a new chapter in the legend of human courage. The first Vorthak warriors appeared at the canyon entrance just after midnight. Their compound eyes glowed in the darkness as they scanned for signs of the humans they had been tracking. Nam Tae-hyung watched them through his modified rifle scope. 12 in the first group, scouts. The main force will be right behind them. Park Jin-woo was positioned on the opposite wall of the canyon. How many do you think are coming? All of them, Tae-hyung replied. Every warrior in this sector. They want us dead very badly. The Vorthak scouts moved cautiously into the canyon. Their weapons were ready, energy cells glowing blue in the alien darkness. They communicated through clicks and whistles that echoed off the stone walls. Song Jae-won had his rifle aimed at the lead alien. Just give the word. Wait, Tae-hyung said. Let more of them enter. We want as many as possible in the kill zone. More Vorthak warriors flowed into the canyon. 20, then 30, then 50. They moved in perfect formation, each alien knowing exactly where the others were positioned. Kim Min-soo had his finger on the detonator for the explosive charges. The canyon is getting crowded down there. Not yet, Tae-hyung said. Wait for the heavy weapons teams. As if he had summoned them, 4 Vorthak warriors entered carrying a massive energy cannon, the same type of weapon that had threatened them at the ruins. Behind them came specialists with communication equipment and portable shields. Now we have their attention, Lee Hyun-woo observed. They brought everything they had. Choi De-hyun was counting targets. I make it over 80 aliens in the canyon. Maybe more still coming. Perfect, Tae-hyung said with grim satisfaction. The more they send, the bigger message we send back. The Vorthak were spreading out across the canyon floor, searching for signs of human passage. Their movements were methodical and professional. These were experienced warriors who had hunted humans before. They know we are here somewhere, Park Jin-woo said. How long before they spot our positions? Not long, Tae-hyung admitted. Their thermal vision is almost as good as ours, but they are looking in the wrong places. The alien formation was now spread throughout the narrow canyon. The heavy weapons team was setting up their cannon in the center. Communication specialists were trying to establish contact with their command base. All targets in position, Song Jae-won reported, beginning to acquire firing solutions. Wait for my signal, Tae-hyung said. We only get one chance at this. One of the Vorthak scouts was examining the modified cave positions where the humans were hiding. Its compound eyes reflected the starlight as it searched for threats. The alien was getting closer to discovering their ambush. Contact in 10 seconds, Choi De-hyun whispered. That scout is about to spot us. Execute, Tae-hyung said calmly. 6 human rifles fired at the same instant. The lead Vorthak warriors dropped before they could raise an alarm. But the sound of gunfire echoed through the canyon like thunder. Light them up, Park Jin-woo shouted. The narrow canyon erupted in violence. Human bullets rained down on the trapped Vorthak from multiple directions. The aliens tried to return fire, but their energy weapons struck only empty rock. Kim Min-soo triggered his explosive charges. Sections of the canyon walls came crashing down, crushing aliens beneath tons of stone. The carefully planned Vorthak formation dissolved into chaos. Song Jae-won was picking off specialists and leaders with precise shots. Heavy weapons team eliminated. Communication equipment destroyed. Tae-hyung was firing his modified rifle faster than should have been possible. The alien power source allowed him to shoot continuously without reloading. Each bullet found a different target. 60 down. Lee Hyun-woo called out. They are trying to retreat. Do not let them escape. Tae-hyung shouted back. If even one gets away, they will bring reinforcements. The surviving Vorthak warriors were running for the canyon entrance. But more explosive charges detonated, sealing off their escape route. They were trapped just as completely as the humans had been at the ruins. Park Jin-woo watched alien after alien fall to human gunfire. This is for every human colony you attacked. The battle lasted only minutes, but it felt like hours. When the gunfire finally stopped, the canyon floor was covered with dead Vorthak warriors. Green blood stained the rocks. Alien weapons lay scattered and broken. Sound off, Park Jin-woo called. Everyone okay? One by one, the Korean warriors reported in. Minor injuries from rock fragments and ricochets. But everyone was alive and fighting. Choi Dae-hyun was already moving to treat the wounded. Min-soo has shrapnel in his arm. Jae-won took a graze on his leg. Nothing serious. Nam Tae-hyung was scanning the canyon floor through his rifle scope. 87 confirmed kills. No survivors. 87, Song Jae-hwan repeated in amazement. 6 humans against 87 Vorthak warriors. Not just any humans, Kim Min-soo said, wincing as Dae-hyun bandaged his arm. Korean humans. Lee Hyun-woo was monitoring alien communication frequencies. All enemy radio traffic has stopped. I think we got them all. Park Jin-woo climbed down from his position to survey the battlefield. The canyon looked like a graveyard of alien nightmares, but they had won. Against impossible odds, human determination had prevailed. How far to the extraction point? He asked Tae-hyung. 6 hours through the mountains. We should reach the human outpost by noon. As they prepared to leave the canyon, Tae-hyung did something unexpected. He activated one of the alien communication devices and began speaking in the Vorthak language. What are you doing? Park Jin-woo asked. Sending a message, Tae-hyung replied. Telling them what happened here. Letting them know the mountain ghost is still hunting. The message was brief but clear. 87 warriors had entered this canyon. None had left alive. The ghost in the mountains was still claiming victims. When they finally reached the human outpost, the debriefing took hours. Intelligence officers could barely believe the reports. One man had survived 9 months in enemy territory. 6 soldiers had defeated a force 20 times their size, but the evidence was overwhelming. Salvaged alien technology, detailed maps of enemy positions, and most importantly, the complete destruction of a major Vorthak strike force. Within days, the story spread throughout human military forces. The legend of the mountain ghost became larger than life. Soldiers spoke in whispers about the sniper who had learned to hunt the galaxy's most dangerous predators. Nam Tae-hyung was offered medals, promotions, and reassignment to safer duties. He declined everything except permission to return to the mountains. My war is not finished, he told the base commander. The Vorthak still controlled too much territory. Someone needs to teach them fear. Park Jin-woo and his team were also offered new assignments, but they chose to stay together, forming a new special operations unit dedicated to deep penetration missions in alien territory. We learned something important in those mountains, Park Jin-woo explained. Human courage combined with captured alien technology is an unbeatable combination. The final reports classified the mission as a complete success. But the real victory was something that could not be measured in official documents. The Vorthak had learned to fear humans. Not just human technology or human numbers, but human determination, the willingness to fight impossible odds and never surrender. In the months that followed, alien activity decreased dramatically in the mountain regions. Vorthak patrols avoided certain areas completely. They spoke of cursed places where warriors went to die. Nam Tae-hyung became a ghost story told around alien campfires. A phantom sniper who could appear anywhere, strike without warning, and vanish like smoke. Some Vorthak refused to enter the mountains. All human military doctrine was rewritten, based on the lessons learned from the mountain ghost. New training. Programs taught soldiers to survive in alien environments. Captured enemy technology was studied and adapted for human use. Most importantly, a new generation of human warriors learned that courage and determination could overcome any technological disadvantage. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but humans belonged among the stars. And somewhere in the crimson valleys of Kepler 442b, a lone sniper continued his private war. The mountain ghost was still hunting, still teaching alien invaders the price of threatening human worlds. The legend would live forever, but the man behind it was very much alive and very much still fighting. Because that is what humans do. When faced with impossible odds, they find a way to win, every single time.